Hello. Welcome to the late night talk with Romantic Developer. Today we really have late night talk independently of each time zone of okay. So in Pacific time zone it's 2 a.m. In Central it probably would be 3 a.m. So it's still night, but on East Coast it's probably already 5 a.m., which could be considered as early morning. Each time zone. So yeah, I'm just verified that I'm audible and it's good. Then I need to start my stream helper, basically my chatbot, which I've developed and it's available for free. So I'm do it very simple. I'm just go to my folder. I haven't created a shortcut for it, and I just execute command like stream, which call find my latest active stream on my channel, and then it's starting like live transcribing service, and yeah, my live transcribing service and chatbot interface, which just verify all the messages in chat and with some period of time and answers all the questions, taking into account context, which consists of multiple things. For some reason it couldn't find, okay, it's now found that stream, because when it couldn't find the stream, it will not start the chatbot. And YouTube sometimes have some delay, like few minutes before the stream available in API. So you see the message chatbot is active in the chat. Let me do some very quick double check that I could hear your messages. So I'm just putting something which should pass my filters in my chatbot, like yeah, and oh, it decided not to announce me that message for some reason. So it decided to answer, but not announce to the streamer because it says, "Hey, hello, everyone." Okay, it's decided to keep it silent because it could handle it itself. Okay, I built my chatbot as agentic AI, so it could take a decision on its own, and of course not as scary as in other fields. But here it decided to just keep that message and didn't announce it to me. Let's think when I said exactly hello streamer. That should allow it to me and to announce
Hello,
it.
streamer. Have a great stream.
Thank you. So of course it also decided to answer to that message, but we see that now it's announced and probably you even should be hear that in the stream. So yeah, let's start. We did all of them. Normally we start with the recent AI news. Normally we start with some exciting news in field of artificial intelligence, LLM models. Recent research has what some big companies do, and we just looking into them and try to evaluate if it's a cool news, if it's not so cool news, and what it could mean for us. It's on my forehead. I see that it's kind of so bright that it's like mirror mirror some light. Anyway, but today I understand that it stream not went out at the same time every day, of course, especially in the recent days. There are some reasons for those, of course. Hopefully, I can change it to do more aligned with some schedule. At least it started every day. Again, I'm keeping those streams until I would be making sufficient numbers of other videos which feel me connected with YouTube audience. And of course, I really want to share more than just software development news, some AI related news. Of course, I want to share much more, let's say, insights from different fields. This stream is not about only software development, but more about my life and my living values, my point of view in this world. And I immediately said that it wouldn't be just about software development, but also about some events, about fatherhood, about being a good husband, about being a good father, about my thoughts about society, politics, and everything else. Today, I also want to touch one of those points, basically politics. Why? Because let's say today, we have a lot of information and a lot of noise about my country, where I'm originally is from. I left my country multiple years ago, like about maybe 8 years ago. I left it for work. I work in some big company, and I need to visit United States just to support work of that company. Basically, be a communication chain between my team and United States team, and working on site, of course, help that mission a lot. And I understand better their processes. I understand better our Ukrainian team point of view, and even Ukrainian team was very technically strong because they failed to understand some exact priorities. Sometimes we go into some conflicts, and of course it wasn't good for product itself, for product goals. Yes, so having me in the United States helped that a lot. And again, eventually they proposed me to switch to United States branch of that company, and I agreed. And after that, it's like it's all continuous. So my kids were grown here in the United States. They finished the schools and they finished colleges or find their work here. They serve in United States Army and so on. So they're very connected to that country now. And of course, while they still dependent on me, I'm here for them, and I'm helping them to build their future. Yeah, I'm supporting my family, some of my relatives from Ukraine as well, who can flee from Ukraine after that war starts, and so on. And yes, in my initial streams, probably I'm having thoughts about it, and I said that I don't have any willingness to be Ukrainian leader in that position, because I hope I will never have to make decisions when some people should die and some people should live. And for me, the human life is cost more than anything else, than territories, than languages, and so on. Of course, maybe it's making me a bad leader. I'm not arguing that. But for me, I know that history is very fast, and there are multiple events are changing. And I value the soldiers and the army, especially those in that position which can protect Ukrainian territory and country in the first few days of Russian invasion. And they were heroes, of course, as multiple others, but they were able to stop, and it was a very good negotiation plan on the table those days. So in 1 month after the invasion started, there was a very good negotiations which could happen between Russia and Ukraine, and they could make a deal, how is it called here, a peace. And before so many other people lives lost, before so many other cities and everything was destroyed, and so on and so on. And the worst thing which I saw on those period of time, it was that people choose hate over the wisdom. So they said, okay, because Russia showed that it's not as strong as everyone believe, now we should show that they are even worse than everyone think still. And they start to laughing on the death, especially on the Russian soldiers' death. They start doing a lot of bad things, which of course I never approve. And they start building, I don't know, Ukraine is Christian country. They said that many people believes in God and believe in Christian school, religious school, which respect and actually Jesus Christ and all his teaching, what Bible say to us, and most of the people in Ukraine are Christians. And I saw that at that period of time that both two things like coexist in them. We are Christians, but we will hate our enemies, and we will hate everyone who said that we need to, I don't know, even negotiate with our enemies and kill, destroy all Russians, destroy their cities, their kids, and everyone else. So they will never can do anything to us or to other wars, etc., etc. So of course, I mean, I understand that not all people have wisdom, but I'd expect that at least leaders could make some decision. And I saw that okay, they choose to follow not what's the best for the country, but some other's plan. And recently, I saw, several series and movies about Redigi and Waco in Texas in 1993, about religious cult where some person, David, proclaimed himself as Messiah. And yeah, while he had multiple things for which he should reply before judges, like let's say over. So of course it's all still in discussion, but let's say they have a lot of army supplies, and some say that they have too much of them and not everything which is allowed, so some prohibited, especially like automatic rifles and so on, and grenades and other things like dynamite and other explosive things. But also he of course he proclaimed himself as Messiah, and people believed him who was around him. So it's not a question that they sell all their goods and connect him to live in some house in Texas and do whatever he said, but also they also do some like very hardly imaginable things, like they allow their kids to have sexual contacts with him, and kids were really small, like 12 years old, and it's prohibited in any state of United States. There are some talks that it was allowed like to have sex with 14 years old if it's agreed between parents and it was a official marriage. But of course he did worse, and it shows that person was, even he was smart and have some good ambitions and everything, he failed the test by power. He used his power to do very bad, very wrong things. But people around him, because I don't know, it's a very interesting question why, but even parents of those kids, that if family came to that wake house, they agreed that men shouldn't sleep with their women, even if it was a marriage. They should do like kind of divorce, and that woman belongs to that David, and the woman will sleep only with David and will give birth to kids only from him, and so on. And men are okay with that. They said, okay, we need to we live without sexual life. And it was like a lot of people. It's more than 100 people. And at the end, when of course FBI and ATF, I believe, and then FBI tried to get into house and arrest the David because of such, they have information about all of those. They start to fight against FBI and other agencies, ATF, and there are multiple agents were killed, about 4 of them, and 19 were received some wounds, and so it was in siege for 51 days, and at the end it was fire where most of the people were lost. Most of the people of this house were lost. And it's, do I like it or not, it reminds me Ukraine at the moment. So we have some government, and please hear me right, they do a lot of bad things. It's undeniable. They prohibit a lot of things in Ukraine. It's starting from churches to some media. So any free speech, anyone who talk against that government, against Zelensky. So it's very similar to what happened in that house when someone talks something against David. He need to leave because he is a Messiah. How you could tell something against the Son of God? Yes, you're not allowed. You need to leave because you not respect Son of God. You not respect God, and you should live in hell. Your place in hell, and you should leave that heaven. I don't know. So you should leave that house. And something similar is in Ukraine. Zelensky said, if someone don't like what we are doing here, please leave the country, which, by the way, is not possible, because if you are a man and if you are from 18 to 60, you're obligated to fight, you're obligated to die, you're obligated to kill other people, even if it's against your religion, even against your thoughts and everything, just because you receive that. Yeah, if you're born in Ukraine, you should die for Ukraine. So, but at the same time, it's not like a big wars of past, like it's not like World War II, when even kids of all the government officials were on that war. So it's just war for very poor people, for people who can be catched and sent to the front line. And again, that war, it's not like, if you stop war, everyone else will die. It's not like when you stop that fight and agree on some peaceful negotiations. Russia go and kill your mothers, your wife, your kids. No. Everything would be normal except you lose some of your territories. And you lose territories with which mostly you fight before. Of course, someone call it civil war in Ukraine. Someone call it Russian war, which under false flag in Ukraine. But for sure, people on the territories wasn't fine, wasn't happy with Ukrainian government. So it's all raise multiple questions, and in history, those conflicts result in multiple ways, and Ukraine choose the worst way. Of course, there are a lot of things which have precedence before that conflict and so on. But the main thing is that people are dying, that front line is not moving or moving slowly, and again, Russia has, of course, better success than Ukrainian, and each day they have better and more success. Most of because of course the population is much bigger than Ukrainian, the economics is incomparable bigger to Ukraine, and of course they put their economics on army rail, so they create a lot of army gear, including rockets, including everything, including jet fights, including tanks, everything. They do it inside the country, and Ukraine just rely on what others will send to it, what European and of course Americans will send to that country so they can continue their fight. And I understand why now they start talking that actually Zelensky is dictator. It's what Trump said recently. He really is. Maybe he thought about himself as Messiah, but he is dictator. It's like about David from Waco. He said that he is Messiah. But in heart of every person should exist some filter, let's say that. What is the Messiah? How he will look like? And of course, what Jesus Christ teach us, that we should ask about every event, about every information, not only our mind, not only our beliefs, but also our heart. If our heart will say, is it love or not? He come and say, see, there are 10 rules. I don't remember how it's called in Christian word. There are some 10 rules, like don't kill, don't lie, don't steal, and so on. And he said, okay, but if you have to choose to lie and save someone's life, or maybe not, and to say truth and kill someone, what you'll choose? And he teach us to choose with what heart say us, what ways the love is. So he always say, please choose the love. Please choose the love. And it's what I believe all the people forget to do, because choosing always, it's your responsibility. You choose something, and if it's against all others, it's your responsibility. Maybe it can make you lonely, and it's so much easier just to start believing someone. Like in David case in Waco, people stop, ask themselves questions. Is it okay for Messiah like to rape 12 years old girls? Is it okay for him to just divorce men and women who are in love? And is it okay for Messiah like to say that you should kill like yourself, you should kill everyone who came to here because they're like devil? Maybe, yeah, some people left that home, but many remained. So many decided, okay, I don't want to think, I don't want to feel. I just will believe without anything. And in Ukraine, I see that similar things happen. Many people just say, okay, why to think? Why to choose what hearts will say us? Where love, where is not love? We will choose Zelensky. We will choose path of hate. We will choose path, and it's not only path of hate. It's path of Ukrainian are greatest nation because they only ones who can stop Russians and so on and so on. If it's even complete fake, but Okay, and now I see multiple comments like some person who born in Ukraine, which never feel himself as Ukrainian because it was Soviet Union time where there are not such things like Ukraine. It was some part of Russia, part of Soviet Union, part of Soviet Union, and even his parents were Russians, for example. Uh, it's about some scientist. I don't remember which exactly. Even like let's imagine Sikorsky. It's man who developed a helicopter. He born in Ukraine, on territory of Ukraine, but it was time of Russia Federation. It was part of Russia Federation at that time, and people say it was the greatest Ukrainian, but actually he always dreamed to return of king of Russian king, or Tsar, how they call it, and he believes that even communists are bad, and he won't return of previous time monarchy. It was way of thinking, and he came to United States just to not be with communists. And his first flights, of course, he called by name of Russian tsars like Nikolai and so on. So it's not completely true to call him like Ukrainians because like birth, like having a birth somewhere doesn't mean you will support all the way of your country, which will happen in hundreds of years. And even if they will fight against your values, it's like if some saint will born in Ukrainian and then Ukrainian says, okay, we need to kill every Russian, every person who speak Russian, for example, does it mean that saint should support it in past? No. Okay, what I want to say. Yeah, it's all doesn't matter. I want to say that it's not about people of Ukraine. I think they like people in David's house. Many of them are making some simple choices and they just continue to live in that. And even if Zelensky will burn its country like David did, they are going to die with him because they don't see anything other. They don't believe anyone. They don't believe that some people just want to stop that war. Some people just want their kids to live. Some people want, that people hurting will stop. And even I don't like Donald Trump way of acting. I think it's no, it's maybe something similar to like how FBI is acting that time. They use several strategies. They use one negotiation strategy and they use some force strategy. Of course, Donald Trump more like force strategy. And they switch in them, negotiations, then force, then okay, negotiator, your turn. And of course, it was no, it not ended well. At least they were able to save like 20% or maybe more, including a lot of kids. But they will not be able to save everyone because of their strategies, because they let that happen for 51 days and they didn't do any specific action before that. I believe something similar can happen here, not because FBI or Donald Trump doesn't want to save people, just because people already fake too much by Zelensky and by everything he built, including completely controlled media, completely controlled military, and for special forces like FBI and CIA in Ukraine. They're controlled by Zelensky, and that's why, of course, no one can open say freely what he really thought. And that's why all the ratings in Ukraine, all the thoughts in Ukraine, they not represent people, of course. They not represent people, and even if they represent some people, again, people are too afraid to say any truth. Or sometimes they believe into some fake things. So yeah, it's the situation when Ukraine kinda in a burning house. FBI is trying to say, hey, Zelensky came out and we will save all your people. And he said, no, these people will stay with me. yeah, I'm not sure why I'm telling all of those. Maybe I'm still, it's like a father who raise your kids. Yes, you cannot protect kids from everything, and maybe the one of the best thing how your kids can teach when they do some mistakes and learn from their mistakes. If you see that your kids in real danger, probably you can help them. You try to help them and save them from that real danger. But we are talking about the God, our Father. Yes, our spiritual Father, and of course he probably doing the same. Yeah, he thinks that maybe the best way of us learning something, our souls learning something. Of course, it's doing our mistakes and our past. But the thing, because our souls is most precious things, not our bodies. Maybe when we go into some real trouble, it's just allow us to do our choices and learn our mistakes. I understand that I don't see a path how I can say, hey, people, you're going not in the right direction. I mean, I see some others telling that and how they are hated by others. So it's not a good period in history when speakers of peace can be heard. Now, time of speakers of hate. But still, I don't know if someone, at least for myself, I just want to say it because I understand that it's very crucial and critical moment in history of my country right now. And I just want to say my position that I believe that what Donald Trump is doing, he's doing right, at least with good purpose. He want to save people. Maybe he want to make some money, but I truly believe he also want to save people. So from other side, I see that, the last 3 years proved that like Zelensky didn't want to save people. He didn't want to stop that. He prohibited himself to even talk about any peace negotiations. And all the European Union, maybe except some countries like Hungary, like Slovakia, is also all hands up for killing as much as possible Ukrainians and, of course, Russians. And they continue talking about it right now. They said, okay, please, we will send more money to Ukraine because we want them in stronger position. What? The only thing we want more people of your dead and more people of Russia dead. That's the point. No peace negotiation in 3 years. No country in Europe, I mean big countries, said that they want peace negotiations, and they even want to call Putin and talk to him, except maybe once Scholz have that call with him, and he was so hated after that he said, okay, maybe it was a mistake, and he never did it again. So of course, only like really Trump administration came and they said, okay, let's stop that. And why everyone say, okay, it's not a time, we want more people dead. Even if people believe that they need to die, even that, I mean, it doesn't mean they have to die. Because they don't know for what they're dying. They're dying for what? It's clearly visible that in the last year, Ukrainians just lose territories, not getting them. Of course, we can say that there is a strategic operation in Kursk region in Russia, where Ukrainian invaded Russia, okay, attacks Russia on Russian territory. But right now, it's really, they lose that Plattsdarm even here, they lose the territories right now. And of course, Russia make a decision to push out Ukrainians from that territory. Of course, it's now not only army, not only wars decision, but also political. It would be implemented pretty soon. I believe everyone who makes money on that war, including, of course, many officials from Ukraine, it's not in secret. Multiple people in Ukraine got much richer. Of course, not normal people, but people who support that war. And it's undeniable fact. There are so many information about it, but everyone don't care. And people who are dying, they're not getting richer. It's very hard. So if Donald Trump talks about actual number of dead people in Ukraine are true or close to true, it means that by Ukrainian law they should pay some compensation to families of those people, and it would be more than about 250 billions of dollars. Where to take it? Ukrainian now a debt country. They have a very big debt, and Donald Trump won't increase it. I mean, it want some money back. So, but see, it's something unbelievable. If Ukraine will continue, it would be even in more bad shape. It would be more ruined cities, even less people. Now it's a catastrophe for people. They couldn't restore the population of Ukraine. Multiple people flee to Europe. Of course, it's mostly women and kids, but there are a lot of men who can, flee from Ukraine, and some buy this ticket for themselves. Only poor people couldn't buy this ticket for themselves, and they have to die. So, and of course, I believe in upcoming days we see more and more truths about Ukrainian. Now it's time for the truth. It's time when it's not controlled by people who don't want the truth to be revealed. So yeah, I don't know, to summarize. I understand it's not software development stream. It's not romantic at all. But let's summarize it, and probably will stop on this point. I thought that I could continue today my development, but yeah, looks like no. And in that summarization, so what you hear about Zelensky and government in Ukraine, please don't spread to all Ukrainians. Many Ukrainians live under the pressure. They have no rights. They have no rights even to say what they think, publicly think. Because if you even like news about that war should be stopped, you could, Ukrainian FBI can came to your house and you would be in jail. It's confiscation of all your value. Yes, all your houses, bank accounts, and everything, and you go to jail from 8 to 15 years because you against of Ukrainian idea, you support somehow Russian invasion just because you want a peace. If you say you need to stop, it's also criminal. You are criminal. That's why people don't say anything in Ukraine. If you come to in the street to one person, of course it probably would be a man, because men are hiding at home who not on the front line. That person will say, okay, we like Zelensky. Maybe. Of course it's not what they think. It's not, of course, but they're afraid even to think, because it's very hard to live in the country where what you think go in very big confrontation what you see. you will fail to live, and that's why people just go with the flow, with official informational flow, and they so people need to be healed. People need to be healed somehow. Of course, after Ukrainian government will change, after some peace negotiations were made. I know that Russians want to stop this war. Of course, not on Ukrainian terms, but they okay to stop killing Ukrainians. They okay to stop fighting further, and they okay to like stop where they are with what they have. Maybe it's a good time to consider that again before other people died. And of course, I strongly believe that people like Zelensky and all people who supported him and understand the reality, they should see some court. They should see some court and some charges, because, and it should be very public, and people need to know what was hidden from them all this time. People should see that, and only after all the information will be available to them, they should decide for themselves at least once in their life. They should decide how to treat all that information. Is it good or bad? Is it with love or with hate? Is it confirm Christians' values or not? Can they call themselves as Christians? Can they call themselves as people who believe in God and believe in what Jesus Christ said, and they want to follow that path, or they like more with devil? I don't know. So we should give people a way to choose. I don't know how it would be me, of course, but I mean, in that terms, I support what current United States administration is doing. I don't know how to make it more. I understand that this way it could hurt some people, and it doesn't mean that there will be no victims of those events. Hopefully, there would be less people than in that Waco tragedy in Texas, 1993. But it shows that how people could fall under some cults. And what we see that right now, multiple people in Ukraine, I couldn't say they are under Mr. Zelensky cult, but at least, of course, they are in anti-Russian cult. Many people are in anti-Russian cult, which means that they find its purpose of life to, I don't know, to fight against Russia, not in keeping their families and raising some other values, some good values, where you could create something beautiful rather than destroying something. And of course, that was formed not by themselves. It was formed by multiple forces, which still are strong even now. And we see it in Europe. Let's hope that these forces will decide to stop, or will be they have to stop because of new US administration, and people in Ukraine at least have chance to heal and to live life with values they choose, not what they choose for them. Maybe I'm a dreamer, but let's hope for that. Okay, and as usual, I'll wish you everyone here to live with the wisdom, respect the wisdom. It's something very hard to achieve in this world. It's could be achieved only when you try to see in heart of the things. And of course, through wisdom, would be possible if you have that filter of love in your hearts. If all events and all your decisions could pass through that filter and do whatever is past and what is not past by filter of love in your heart, you just say, okay, maybe it's not a wise thing to do. Maybe I need to change it so it would pass my love filter. I'm trying to do that. I'm not doing it always. Sometimes I'm failing to do that, of course, but at least going on that path is a good thing. Yeah. Okay, guys. Hopefully next time we have more time to talk about software development and beautiful AI news, beautiful and wonderful world of future we observing right now, which of course created by laws of our mother nature, which around us, and we need to look around, see and enjoy that, and of course be of course I hope we would be happy to see how beautiful world is around us, including us people. We are beautiful, sometimes dumb, but still we are beautiful. So, and of course even LLM and even AI and everything we call AI is built on using that laws of, of nature. It's not against it, it's for it, but us people will choose how to use it. So yeah, let's keep our enjoyment from the life. Let's build wisdom, and let's apply our love filter in our hearts. I know that it doesn't sound exactly as software developer should sound, but come on, I'm romantic. I'm a romantic developer. I believe in love. I believe in wisdom. I believe in people. It's three things which hard to believe in this moment, but I believe and I truly see them everywhere. So see you next time. If you have any comments or questions, you know where to leave them. Goodbye.